Everyone on Parliament Hill can say his name. This is The Roy Green Show on 770 CHQR.
For Roy Green, he will be back for you next weekend. Your buddy will be back, no need to worry, on the Chorus Radio Network, 1-800-263-2428. Coming up on the show, we're going to have a guest who is a psychologist, a child psychologist, but we're also going to talk about the children, the older folks, and so much more with Jody Carrington, also a best-selling author and more. So look forward to that one. If you have any questions, you feel free to simply throw them out there, or at least get ready to do that as well. If you want to reach me via email, if you have a question to submit, you can do that as well. Shane, S-H-A-N-E, at charlesadlertonight.ca. That is a show that I normally fill on for our buddy Chuck, and that's the easiest way to send an email in if you have a question but don't want to call. We can do it too. Before we got into the top of the hour, I had shared about a white hat hacker joining me now. He's from Red Deer, and that's what he does. I know Hank doesn't mind when I call him an uber geek, because he most certainly is, but he's also a pretty nice guy, Hank Fordham. What is a white hat hacker? You've shared it with me, but for the audience that's new right now, Hank, let us know what it is that you do and why it's different, because the word hacker is usually scary for so many people.
Thanks for having me. And I'm actually based in Calgary, Alberta now with Retrain Canada.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know you came down south. Well, welcome down to the city.
Thank you. A white hat hacker is one of the good guys. So they practice finding vulnerabilities for companies with permission and then patching them before the bad guys can get at them. And then you have your gray hat hackers, which is a little gray spot in the middle. And they kind of do things without permission, but usually for good causes. And then you have your black hats, and they're mainly malicious and mostly just for monetary gain or other kinds of malicious gain.
So that's what we're starting to hear in around the world right now. You, through all of your sort of dark web hacking friends, what are we starting to see where the bad guys, the black hat hackers, and the criminals are starting to exploit fear around COVID-19? What are you seeing?
Well, you're seeing a lot of, since January roughly, there's a lot of new domain registrations appearing, and a lot of these are being used maliciously for different things, like releasing an Android app on the App Store that tracks your information, or releasing maps on the web that are malicious that you can download. Phishing is a big one right now. There's lots of phishing campaigns going on.
Is there a big difference between the Apple Store and the Android Store? Is the Android Store still sort of heard as the Wild West of security?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you can pretty much publish anything in a matter of hours there.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, well, I guess the next question for Android users is, how do you mitigate that?
You just have to make sure that you're not enabling that unknown sources option and things like developer features, so that you're not able to download apps that are from an unknown source, and just be extra cautious about the sources that you're downloading applications from, especially if they claim to provide information in regards to the COVID-19 situation.
When hackers do this stuff, they're accessing information, they're, I guess, trying to steal personal information and all that stuff. Is it always related back to those scams? Is there anything big and nefarious going on that is around hacking right now? Because we were seeing an awful lot of personal intrusion with, the Nests and all of the at-home devices. Has that shifted back to some old school email scams now, or is there any other place that we're not looking that there are the scams coming from?
Well, there's always going to be new places that we should be looking, and as time moves on, and with the COVID-19 situation developing further, the campaigns are getting more and more complex. So generally speaking, they'll be in the form of an email, or, like I said, giving you a link for a COVID-19 map. By the way, we have a list of safe links for information on retraincanada.ca, or .com, sorry.
Okay.
And centuriondefense.ca.
retraincanada.com.
And centuriondefense.ca.
Great. So so if we look at these kinds of places, this is a place where we start. I had a friend who had sent out a link saying, hey, if you want to track everything that's going on with news and whatever, and it was like coronavirus info something.com. Are those the kind of ones that we need to be super careful about?
That's exactly it. That's what you want to be careful about. And the best sources for information on these kinds of things are going to be ones like the ones posted on our website over at Retrain, and they're generally going to come from government sources or really credible public sources.
Yeah, Johns Hopkins University has been tracking it since the very beginning, and that's a remarkable one. But it is easy to go and sort of pinch the Johns Hopkins map and insert it into something else, isn't it? Can't they do that?
Exactly, and that's what hackers are doing. So one example would be the coronavirus or Corona Live app that Johns Hopkins University released on the Google Play Store. And actually, right after they released that, there was another malicious app that was a port of that, so an exact copy of it called Corona Live 1.1. And it was basically a remote access tool for Android phones, so they could access your messages, your camera, and pretty well everything. And so that's exactly it. You have to make sure that the developer you're downloading this application from is a legitimate source.
It's remarkable to think that it's that quick that these guys and gals are sitting around doing this bad stuff. How long does it take before Google gets wind of that and takes it down?
Generally speaking, it's not long. Corona Live 1.1 was removed pretty quickly after being uploaded, and especially with the characteristics that it displayed. There was another application, for example, that the Health Ministry of Iran released, and it claimed to track COVID as well. I think it was called CV-19, and it actually just tracked users' location data, and that got removed within the first week.
Wow. Is there anything else, Hank, that's surprising you that's going on in the hacking world right now?
It just surprises me, the growth I'm seeing over the last few weeks with the amount of different cyber campaigns appearing. It's staggering, and that's the reason that I've partnered with centuriondefense.ca and retraincanada.com to make sure we can provide as good information to Canadians as we can and train the next generation of cyber defense.
Are we ready for this stuff, or is this going to be one of those things where we're leaving our back door open and everyone's going to walk in that wants to?
Well, it's an unprecedented time right now, and so I think the best defense is education and being aware. And so in terms of your question, I don't think we're ready, but I think that we're ready to learn, and I think that if everyone can be a little more educated towards the current cybersecurity risks, then they might be able to protect themselves, especially when working from home.
That's remarkable. Thanks so much for the time, Hank. It's nice to chat with you again.
Thank you so much, Shane.
Hank Fordham is a white hat hacker, and joining us on the phone from Calgary. White hat hackers, the good guys that try to isolate what is going on with the bad guys in the hacking world. And I always think of my folks, the people that have not been around this fast-moving technology quite as much. My parents are very computer savvy, but the reality is that it does move quickly. So if ever there was time to have a conversation about what maps you're looking at and what are the things, the pieces of the puzzle that you're getting your information from, it is not something to be taken lightly, and to maybe check some of those lists that Hank shared for sure. It's remarkable to think how quickly someone will jump on that. 1-800-263-2428. Phone lines will be open for you. Coming up next, psychologist Jody Carrington and more on The Roy Green Show on the Chorus Radio Network.
Reese Smith and Carrie Griffith of the Smith & Griffith Real Estate Team with CIR Real